So guys, it's time for an Iceland update because we're reaching critical levels there in Iceland. The news that are coming from the Icelandic Meteorological Office are, I don't want to say alarming because we know that it's coming. We've been waiting for it, but it could come at any time, and it could come also not as a surprise, but it could come without a warning. So they have done some changes to their risk map as well. And there's also some earthquakes happening. So, gosh, is that keeping us busy? Will that keep us busy the next few days? Well, it seems that the earthquakes at Campi Flegrei and Santorini are somewhat getting less, but which still doesn't mean that nothing could happen. Sometimes if they're getting less, then boof, something happens. So I have just released another update about this. And then since we're speaking about boof, something happens, you've probably seen my video about the earthquake that I lived through today, a 5.1 or 4.8. They keep changing the numbers near Vancouver in Canada. And I was on top of a high rise sitting in this chair. It felt like it's lifting me up, and I stayed there for a while and then it was coming down. So weird experience. I'll put the video on the end screen. You really have to watch it, and it was really funny because I saved this coffee without even noticing while I was running to the back, wanting to make the dogs go away from the window. So it was weird. So check out that video. So increased risk of volcanic eruption at the Sutnuka crater series in Svartsengi in Iceland. Volcanic eruption must be expected at very short notice. That's what the Icelandic Meteorological Office is saying. They say their updated model calculations show that the amount of magma that has accumulated in the magma chamber underneath Svartsengi, where we have the important Svartsengi power plant, geothermal power plant, and the tourist attraction, the moneymaker for Iceland, the Blue Lagoon, that is using the wastewater, clean water, hot water from the geothermal power plant. And I mean, look at this aerial picture here. You can see from the Sentinel satellite picture how far the lava traveled in the last eruption that began on November 20th. Also kind of like surprisingly, because they thought the eruption would be like a Christmas eruption. So it was really traveling. It was basically parking at the Blue Lagoon because it was running over the Blue Lagoon parking lot, destroying their parking lot and some maintenance buildings. And without the defense wall that was there, game over for the Blue Lagoon. And now they've been working tirelessly to increase the defense walls there, because what they discovered, I've reported about this, they found something like an underground tunnel that has formed, like an underground pathway for the lava of the next eruption to reach that Blue Lagoon area in Svartsengi very, very fast, and then push up and then maybe run over the defense wall. So I hope that they have finished the work closing that and diverting it and making the defense walls significantly higher, because from the last eruptions, the lava carpet have already built up to a height in some areas that was twice as high as the original defense walls. So they had to keep building them up. So it remains quite a thriller if the eruption starts in the same place like it did last time. Can Svartsengi be saved? Because we already heard, not after the last eruption, but the one before, that some engineers said, well, we can only save Svartsengi that long. They said it might only need 1 or 2 more eruptions and we're done. So one happened and it was critical. And the walls there have been breached by another eruption last summer. It was flowing over, but thankfully at a spot that was still giving them room to divert the breaching lava and build inside the walls another wall to keep it from coming to Svartsengi. But where it was last time, so close to the Blue Lagoon, had it breached the wall there, game over. So this is the second one. When they said only 1 or 2, this is the second one. So it remains a thriller what's going to happen. So they say that the magma that has accumulated underneath Svartsengi is now as large as it was before the last eruption that began November 20th. So it has the same amount. So there was a trend showing that from eruption to eruption, a little bit more was needed in the magma chamber to trigger the next one. But last eruption, that wasn't really the case. So it can start at any time. And they're also saying that based on previous events at the Sutnuka crater series, it can therefore be assumed that there is an increasing probability that the next event will begin within a few days or weeks. And the interesting thing is Professor Thorwaldsen, I like the guy. I'm always reporting. He's always saying something different than the Met Office, or not always, but often. And he kind of said, well, with every day passing, it looks more and more that we're not going to see an eruption, that this is ending here, and that we could see other spots erupting on the Reykjanes Peninsula. He's probably wrong. I really think we're probably having another eruption here. And he said this last summer. Well, I think that by the end of July or August, this is it. The system's died down. No more eruptions here, maybe somewhere else. But that volcano always said, hold my beer, guys. Here I am. Hi, another eruption, and I'm coming for your infrastructure. So if it's in the same spot like last time, it'll probably threaten Svartsengi again. If it's further south, Grindavik's not out of the woods. It's not. If it's going further north, major highway between Reykjavik and the main airport, Keflavik Airport, could be destroyed by the lava. So east is probably the best if the lava flow is flowing east. We will see. So they say if an eruption occurs, it will be the 8th eruption. We've had an intrusion as well, but eruption, lava comes to the surface in this Sutnuka crater area since the first eruption began in December 2023. And they're saying that because of these repeated events where we have a lot of magma tunnels and fissures have formed, the tension in the Earth's crust has decreased with each event. So for them, they're saying this means that fewer and smaller earthquakes are measured in the area in the weeks and days before an eruption than they were measured in the run-up to the first eruptions. Yeah, it's like you're building a mine from the scratch. You need to build the tunnels, and that causes a lot of shaking because you need explosives and heavy machinery. But now all that is in place. So the magma has good flow path. So you won't see it rumbling that much. And if there's bad weather, that's what they said, and rain or storm or something, the seismometers that they have installed everywhere could be impacted. So if there's more a microseismic swarm that would indicate that the magma's on the move, they wouldn't be able to measure it, and then the eruption would come as a surprise. And we know what that would mean for our lagoonies, right? If you've been watching my channel for a longer time. So a very short notice of an eruption is expected, as little as 30 minutes or even less, and we've had that in the past. So the signs that have been observed when magma seeks to come to the surface include intense small earthquake swarm that we've seen in the past in the Sutnuka crater series, pressure changes in the HS Orcas boreholes in Svartsengi from the hydrothermal power plant. They measure the pressure in there, and deformation of fiber optic cables. Interesting, right? And of course, the surface deformation seen in real-time GPS measurements. So this area has very good surveillance compared to, for example, Fentale and the Dolphin volcano in Ethiopia. I'm reporting about that. And also better than Santorini. They're trying to upgrading their systems there right now. And well, guys, last night there were earthquakes in the Sutnuka crater area. So is something preparing? This started around 7:50 p.m. last night local time. So several earthquakes were measured over a period of a few minutes in the area between the Sutnuka area and Stora Skogfell. And that's the area where we usually see the lava come erupting. So it could be signs of the beginning of a magma coming to the surface, of the beginning of an eruption. So there's a 24-hour watch at the Icelandic Meteorological Office. They said that they have seen no other signs on the measuring systems that an eruption had begun. And we had that. Similar seismic activity was observed in the same area on November 4th last year. And then we saw an eruption on November 20th. So there might be still a few days, 2 weeks, a few hours, hard to tell. So Met Office tries to give us an overview. What can we expect when the next volcanic eruption happens there? So they think that the magma will most likely emerge again in the area between the Sutnuka and Stora Skogfell area. It has been the case in 6 of the other eruptions that we have seen since that volcanic activity began. So only the eruption that we've seen in January in 2024, magma was erupting south of Hagafell towards Grindavik. So south, that was a scary one. So they're saying, of course, the impact of a volcanic eruptions that begins between Sutnuka and the Stora Skogfell area depends on whether the fissure extends, because the eruption starts and then it forms a fissure that is extending. So the question is, which direction? So either north or south. So they have given us some scenarios of how that could look. So if an eruption begins in an unfavorable wind direction, also an initial phase can create hazardous gas pollution up to a 1 kilometer radius from the source. And that could then also be blown either into Svartsengi or to Grindavik. But again, if the fissure opens further north, major highway, Svartsengi, further south, Grindavik. Lava could reach the main road that connects Grindavik with the major highway. If you want to go to Reykjavik or the airport, that's Grindavíkurvegur. And that road has taken a beating. It always gets the lava flow. It has gotten it at the doorsteps of Grindavik, where the defense walls are. And almost at every eruption, it gets it, like where the Svartsengi area is closest, the access area to the Blue Lagoon and the power plant. Sometimes lava flows over it in 2 areas. They had to rebuild it many, many times. And you can just push the lava away. You have to build a road over it. So yeah, I'm sure Grindavíkurvegur will get it again. And they're saying, yeah, lava could reach Grindavíkurvegur at Mount Thorbjörn and or at Svartsengi outside the defense walls in less than 1.5 hours, because that's what happened in the past. And they say if lava overflows or flows over water bodies there's some ponds and stuff, or comes in contact with groundwater, local explosive activity could occur. And they also saying nothing in their data that they have so far excludes an eruption south or to the south of Hagafell. And in such an event, lava could reach the escape routes of Grindavik, Nesvegur and Sudostrandavegur in less than 1.5 hours. That would not be good. Lava could also potentially block all land escape routes out of Grindavik in about 6 hours. But they're pretty good at evacuating Grindavik. So they're usually within the first 45 minutes, they have Grindavik evacuated. So hopefully that's not going to be a problem. And since we're not expecting heavy earthquake swarms and higher magnitudes, that could damage the roads in Grindavik again, because that's what happened in November. Big cracks opened. You can't drive over that with your car anymore. That would be critical for an escape. But hopefully they have some boats in the ports, right? If Shizzy hits the fizzy. They have shown us a map here where you could see the location of the potential eruption sites. And you see the several stars mark the locations of the eruptions. And again, most are between Sillingerfell and Stora Skogfell, but that one blue one there, that is south of Hagafell. That was at the doorstep of Grindavik, and also opened a little fissure inside the defense walls and did flow into Grindavik, destroying these 3 homes, new homes, beautiful homes, burned them down. So that's a very good map that shows us, right, where it really is. And because of that, they have increased the risk in 3 areas in an updated risk management. So because they have these new model calculations, they have updated this map. And you see, of course, what you see in the red rectangle, this is the area where we could see the eruption. That's the area where we've seen the stars in the previous map. So they have increase this, but also in area 1, that is Swartsengi, and in area 5, that is basically a little like northeast of Swartsengi, they have been upgraded from being rated some risk from yellow to numerical risk orange. And then the hazard level for area 3, that's the Sutno crater area, is being upgraded from orange to high, so to red. And they're also showing us a graph how the land rise is behaving, because that's an indication what the magma chamber underneath is doing. If it's filling up, the land is rising. And the last curve is the red one that you see here. So the deformation measurements that they're getting from their stations show a continued uplift, although it has slowed slightly in recent weeks. But slowdown doesn't mean it's ending. It could mean it's reaching the point of maximum elasticity, and then it sends the lava out, the magma out to an eruption site or an intrusion. So yeah, guys, I'll be on the pulse of this for you. And it's been an exciting, quakey day today, let's say it that way. So check out the video in the end screen, but also really check out my latest information about what's going on in Italy and in Greece. So check out my playlist, check out my channel start page. If you like what you see, please leave this video a like and share it with your friends. And if you want to support my channel, become a member of the channel, a monthly member. Link is in the description, or buy me a coffee or 2. I will always protect the coffee, I promise, on my buymeacoffee.com/silky site. And I see you very, very soon in one of my next videos, I hope. Stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.